Hello and welcome to your reading, Pisces, for May 20th through the 26th. I want to start this out just by saying that in between readings, which I usually sit through all of them in a row, for yours I had to not only do like a whole wardrobe change, but like a bunch of things came in, and it was almost just this like dancing in my brain of like, when will we get to finish this? When will we get to finish this? And I feel like this is coming up big for you all. So Neptune has stationed at 29 degrees Pisces, and I want to read that Inside Degree by Elias Lonsdale. Balinese dancers wearing elaborate gold costumes. We will be at this degree through to September, and that means we have a lot of time to sit with it. We have Sun moving into Gemini. We have the Sun in your fourth house. It's shifting from your third house to your fourth house, and Pisces essentially have had karma with God, so that was why you incarnated into being a Pisces. And we've gone from how you communicate, how you think, how you get from point A to point B, literally, like with your physical vessel, like how you get from work, how you commute. And we are looking to see, I think, a lot of redemption at this time for you all, with the Sun moving into your fourth house of Gemini. And with the week starting off, we're going to have the moon climbing up through Libra. And for you all, that is your 8th house. So I sense some watery energy. I sense some deep emotions because we are moving into a 4th house transit. So I want to just look at the angels for a moment and see what they have to say for you guys, because the coordination, the attention to detail required for this move, especially with Saturn on your sign in your first house, depending on what you're accessing this reading for, Knight of Water. It's like you are looking at new pursuits, looking into new pursuits, looking for something more than what you've had, maybe romantically. I sense with like marriage, with partnership that goes beyond, liking someone or disliking them, like the question of commitment and how your commitments have played out in this life. And because you all are mutable water, sometimes you guys can really have a different internal than what you're showing. And I sense that with Black Moon Lilith going through your 7th house of relationships, you guys are facing some of the biggest concerns that you all have had as souls, like regarding your significant other or memories that have just played on in your head. And I sense that if you think of organizing a group of dancers and they're finally in their costumes, it's like they have rehearsed, they've coordinated. Yeah, there's a deep sadness that you guys, I sense, maybe have been trying to like move away from as much as you can, like scooting away from it. But the Sun moving into the 3rd house with this culmination point of maybe the truth that comes up over this previous weekend of the Sun conjuncting Jupiter, and Jupiter making things really big, really visible for you guys to decide how you feel, how you're going to operate based on what your feelings are. Maybe even raising of your expectations, because, when we started production, for any of you all who have danced or done any sort of like art or culture, even education, you know that you start out with a bunch of different pieces, like literally with material. Your material has a life of its own, a story of its own to tell. And yeah, there's something that's bugging you, something that hasn't been able to be rushed away. You haven't been able to ignore it. It's been something that's been like persistently on your mind. So we have this desire that's being born with the Sun moving into the 4th house. We have a new sense of value with our thoughts, and we understand what thoughts take us away from healing, take us away from resolving this karma for good. Yeah, it's time to take a step back. And I know that you guys work really hard. You guys have to maintain a schedule. You guys have to put all of your creativity into practice because of your watery nature. And with Mars in your 2nd house, You guys are getting a boost in plans. You guys are learning to really make plans that allow for you to force things to rely on you. So you really have to be invested. You really have to communicate clearly all of this new insight that you've gained, and maybe even some really radical partnerships that have come through you guys going out into the world, stepping out and being social. On Mars Day, Mars at 15 degrees Aries. I didn't do this for any of the signs this week, but I want to look at the inside degrees for you all. So Mars at 15 degrees Aries is a man with pointed ears. So, I believe I started doing some form of my astrology sharing, or else I was working on my 28-day lunar planner whenever this degree was, where the sun was, where Mercury was, where where Mercury was. And Mercury revolves around the sun every 88 days. So it's like our brain can work on something for like a period of time and really get a grasp on it, get a handle on it. And perhaps what you guys are seeking with Mars Day into Mercury Day is some kind of way to live with what you're going through and what you're growing through, and expand upon how you communicate it, expand upon what you do to get your voice out there, how you're seen, maybe how you're not seen. And by that I mean, do you make appearances, or do you have some sort of costume or alias that you're playing with? Because people do love Pisces and their kooky, watery nature. You guys are very kooky and watery, and there's a lot of heart with Pisces. But then also there is, this ability to withdraw and be completely cold and distant in ways that people don't expect. And sometimes when those things come up, maybe this is the karma from your past lives, to where it's that codependency of you really needed to have someone else get you, and you needed them to revere you and honor you and respect you. And yeah, these are unhealthy attachments that will not allow for you to evolve your soul. They won't allow for you to see things as they are and hear them as they are. While there is a beautiful element of fantasy that I feel for you all this week, especially with Neptune at 29 degrees. And on Mars Day, Saturn moves to a net 9. It's like you're going to be rewarded for giving up these things that do not allow for an authentic, living, breathing expression of your feelings in a creative way. So for my Pisces, it looks to be that with the moon moving through Scorpio, you guys are going to have to choose to believe that your needs are real, that the more security you seek in the world, the more sense of comfort and affirmation you're going to have to make in your fourth house, in your house of family, home, your the life that you've lived. And I think really consciously you have to resolve to forgive. You have to resolve to let go of these stories. You have to resolve to take a break where you can. Maui excels, the trickster. So you could even be experiencing some challenges because you've tried to avoid them for so long, Pisces. And in this avoidance, you were really just showing up as minimally as you could. You were pretending that things could resolve themselves, but again, you guys are at the end of the zodiac. You are the culmination before the synthesis of water into fire, this etheric contraction. And we are exiting the age of Pisces, of the age of the guru. So maybe you followed people throughout your life. Let's see what happens on Mercury Day and how this new sense of communication, this new thought is going to emerge with Mercury at 9 degrees Taurus. A talkative woman with tape over her mouth. Maybe you weren't getting across to people. You really could have given it your all, and people couldn't understand the way that you were coming across, which is where this character, this alias, might come in handy to help you. It might be like a puppet. It might be like some extension of yourself that allows for you to really get your point across, and in a way that detaches you from others' expectations and the expectations that you grew up with and the feelings that you felt but never could express, and you have a lot of resentment built up. We get it, Pisces. If anyone kept something in for lifetimes, they would have a lot of resentment and feelings of, limitation. I think we're being asked, our Mother Arrakis, to be the oddball, to take it a step further, be leaps and bounds ahead of society, so much so to where you're remembered as a trailblazer, and you give yourself breathing room from trying to execute your plans in a very specific way, because that did not pan out and it was never meant to. On Jupiter Day, Jupiter conjuncts Venus at 29 degrees, and I think that this energy of the 29s is just asking us to really lean forward with communication, to snap out of the self-defeating thoughts, the alienating prophecies, the story of not being loved, not being given what we needed. The moon will begin its journey in apexing to a full moon in Sagittarius, and that is your 10th house of career. And I sense that there is going to be an ease of your creative expression this week because of this full moon and because of the revelations that you're getting from your reality. As you communicate in this new goofy way that is light, and it allows for you to look at the dark, to heal it, to move forward intentionally. You're intentionally wanting to heal and move forward. That is going to trigger this new sense of cherishing what you have, the home that you have, the family that you're building, your chosen family, your friends, beyond the threshold of fear. Rising up out of this really, really heavy, burdensome experience of being let down, being disappointed, not being loved, having to be codependent, because no one really chooses codependency. It's a trauma response to not feeling adequate, not feeling like you are safe in the love that we received in our foundation. I've been speaking a lot to the pre-verbal stage, and with the fourth house, it does speak to our childhood, our ancestry, our inheritance. And what I've heard, as challenging as this might be, the way that we were parented is how we parented in a past life. And sometimes for Pisces, or people with Pisces aspects, so Pisces in the 7th house, and I've seen it. I've seen it in my own family. People with these Pisces placements, they re-inherit their children in a past life as their parents. And the parents treat them with the same sort of emotional intensity that they received. And the way out is by parenting yourself in new ways that allow for you to be, goofy and silly and take it too far. And as long as you're in integrity with, your expression, and you feel like you can go to bed at night content and not feeling like you've been misunderstood because you so the mirror of reality is the way that we handle ourselves. If we go there with ourselves in an area that hurts our feelings, brings us down, other people will go there with us because they see an opening, they see a gate. But it's not like everyone has a bad intention, Pisces. It's just that what you make yourself available is what will grow. So we want to be sure that we are attending to our needs as a kid, the things that we couldn't have. And you guys worked so hard that now it's time to realize, okay, I do have the budget for this vacation. I do have the budget for this retreat. And really to put yourself in a position where you prepare yourself beforehand for whatever it is that you're experiencing, like this opening that you're creating in your life, to really release a lot of these heavy, burdensome emotions that kind of, they lead to conflict and disarray in your life, and then to put your energy into that specific opening. So let's say you have a cooking class. No, we don't want to put the hatred that we felt as a child into the dish, but I sense that if we're present for that cooking class, and then the cooking class speaks to the layers of richness that those experiences triggered within us, the dish is going to have that much more of you in it. And that's the authentic Pisces, that during this 4th house transit, sun will be at 2 degrees Gemini. On Jupiter day, your feelings are going to be overflowing. And if you put that into what you're creating, you're going to have fuel that will keep you running. And you do need to take a break and a vacation, but there is a way to be actively resting. So you can be on the couch crocheting, watching your favorite movie, put on your favorite album, and just looking at the ceiling and visualizing. Visualizing is a very potent tool. I use it all the time, Pisces. We have Artha of Kali and Mantra Shakti. So this is speaking to your divine masculine going after and getting it. Let's look to Venus day for this. Venus will be at 0 degrees Gemini on this day, and it's like you have such a clarity, Pisces, with Venus in your 4th house. Like, you know exactly how you can get this confidence, how you can get the security to walk in the world with an ancient technique to back you. Spiritually, this might be what's coming across because of Pluto in your 12th house. Retrograde at 1 degree, you might spiritually feel like you need to protect yourself in ways that allow for you to love bigger. They allow for you to take the pain of your childhood and put it into your work, and to have less resistance around being there for yourself in those ways. Venus at 0 degrees Gemini is Taurus at 30. Snakes at rest on a rock in the sun. I think this speaks to a lot of depth and passion in our relationships in Pisces. This reading is going so long. You have so much ancient stuff coming up. Okay, let's move on to Saturn day. But we are really, with all of this 0 in the 4th house, it's like we are getting into the infinite, and we're making cuts to make sure that we, okay, so this exact, oh gosh, okay, so we have Saturn, Neptune, and Saturn and Mars. I wish I could tell you the exact, I think it's like a quincunx. So it's, no, it's not. Semi-sextile, I think. Okay, so this is, I think, that etheric quality that I was speaking to of the 18s. Spirit is going to force you to step into this ancient way with how you carry yourself and how you nurture yourself. So you might open up into a new form of flow with your movement, with your creativity. It's going to feel really dialed in and new, but it's something that you're so used to doing that it completely like makes you feel good, and it enfolds you so that you can have this almost like cloak of protection is what I'm getting. Saturn is going to make sure that you do this on Saturday. So there might be something that comes up, and it's like it's like you tap it. Like that experience is going to tap this potential, and then you're going to have this really sweet energy of like, I know how to handle this, and you switch into that mode because you have the perspective. You're opening now. I think also the 0 Gemini in your 4th house is opening you to these ancient methods that you used to rise above the emotional dross, to make choices that will allow for you to continue to build what you want and to stop destroying things that cause you emotional grief and trauma and pain. Sun at 5 degrees Gemini on Sunday is asking you to mastermind your thoughts. So when we have our heart on and steady and protected, and we know what we love, we have a boundary, we have an idea, we can think through almost anything that would come up to inhibit us. So again, with the 7th house going through a black moon Lilith transit and upgrade, and then Your 8th house of partnerships being shaken upside down. It's like you're emptying your bag of every single crumb and you're going to make sure you vacuum it up and get rid of it. We are having to decide the ways that we're going to manage ourselves emotionally to keep the relationships that matter to us, keep progressing in the direction that we want, and to keep us feeling like we are in top shape, better than we've ever been treated by anyone else, because we have now got this obligation, Pisces, to handle ourselves and to ensure that all of this genius that has been brewing since the weekend, we can mature it and matriculate it and pour from a full cup and not have these feelings of inadequacy teeming on the base at the bottom of our manifestations. We want to settle that energy and rise. Pisces, let me know how things are going for you this week. It feels like a really big week, feels very dramatic, but I know you guys have a lot on your plate and you're working so hard. Let me know in the comments how things are going for you, and I will see you in your next reading. Aloha.